First source of anxiety, life and death. The Dutch philosopher Baruch Spinoza coined the concept of conatus as the principle of persevering in one's being, which signifies that any entity tries to maintain itself in existence and preserve its integrity, its particular form. It should not be viewed as an artificial, extraneous effort, neither as a conscious effort, nor as an explicit goal, but simply as an intrinsic dynamic at the heart of being, as a sort of primary and intimate effect. It is an internal impetus, an inclination, the expression of an essential power, the manifestation of being or existing of any substance. In a more physical way, just as the concept of inertia, it is the tendency that incites a body to maintain its way of being, be it movement or rest, against any external cause that would inhibit or exert a force against this natural state. For the human, as a conscious being, this can be taken as a willful and deliberate enterprise, which then involve effort and determination, amplifying the conatus as an intended purpose. This undertaking takes a conceptual or ideal manifestation in the concept of immortality, a fundamental archetype in thinking and culture. It takes both forms of eternity of existence of ourself and maintain the specificity of this self. What can we call identity? What makes us different from other beings? This conatus can as well be expressed as a blossoming of the self, the actualization of its potential, the realization of its intrinsic power. As a consequence, anything threatening this natural process of perpetuation, inhibiting it or prohibiting it, any danger of interruption or limitation of ourself is troublesome. Although it is a reality that can be called the finitude of the self, the consciousness of its different limits. In this context, the most radical threat is death, since it is a radical cessation of this essential drive. But we know that death is omnipresent, as is phrased by the English poet Percy Bysshe Shelley. Death is here and death is there. Death is busy everywhere, all around, within, beneath. Above is death, and we are death. Therefore, we are affected at different degrees by this fear, by the anxiety of mortality. And the more someone's identity is limited to his own immediate self, biological and corporeal, the more he fears death. That is why philosophical and religious schemes propose various stratagems to overcome this anxiety. Life after death, unity with the cosmos, living in the present moment, identification with transcendent realities, dissolution of the self, etc. This fear of death generally deals with our personal reality, but it is easily transposed to any broader manifestation of mortality, disease, death of relatives, friends, of multiple living beings, disappearance or collapse of any structure or phenomenon, apocalyptic perspective, etc. Actually, unconsciously, some people prefer to worry about outside death as a way to avoid facing their own death as a sublimation of this anxiety. But fundamentally, they're worried about their own death, even if they prefer to deny it. We should remember that reality is, for the majority of people, primarily their own specific existence, and the extinction of their individual self signifies the end of all, the absurdity of everything, the meaninglessness of existence. That is the origin of the classical philosophical question, what is the point of doing anything, since we know that we will die? The horizon of death is a constant and daily threat on the very essence of their existence. Thus, the death of persons we're attached to, who are dear to us, can signify as well our own death, to the extent we feel that they are part of us. Their death is our death. In a similar way, it can be the disappearance of anything constituting one's fundamental identity. For example, his creation for an artist, his firm for a businessman, etc. In this sense, for some persons, the essence of death is a cessation of their activity, the interruption of a process they're engaged in, the non-fulfillment of a mission, an ending that they will consider unfair, scandalous, or absurd. From there, we can understand the anxiety about the vanishing of diverse elements or beings that they perceive as consubstantial to their own person. Philosophizing is periodically proposed as learning to die, as dying to oneself, as learning to give up on all those attachments that seem to fulfill our existence but actually engender addiction and anxiety.